Welcome to another episode of Measured, and thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to kind of take a look at paid search. It's changing, but how it's not evenly changing, and how AI overviews is affecting it, and what types of searches that you're paying for are truly being effective. There's a study that we had researched and saw that someone did the research for, and just kind of changes that we're seeing within our customers' accounts as well. We will have our customer question, and as always, end on our featured project. And so jumping right into paid search and kind of understanding what is changing. Not all of it's changing, which is kind of why we said it wasn't changing evenly. And part of that is just kind of understanding what are you looking at when it comes to your paid search results. Now, we have customers from all different aspects, whether they're just paying to be found for the service that they have, paying to be found just on their brand of who they are and where they're at, which usually falls into the services that they do have. We have a bunch of different customers that are selling products. Now, when I talk to someone who is wanting to do a service or their brand, obviously your messaging has to be pretty much everything on that to get people to come in and click all the way through. Now, when it comes with the products, it's a lot easier to track your return on ad spend, your ROI all the way through, because you know how much your product was, you have, all the fees that go into it. Well, no, your click-through rate, what that conversion value was, all the way through. So when we are selling a product, I love those just because it is a lot easier to give someone their value back on that spend. Now, we definitely can do different things and put values to landing that next customer and landing that next lead essentially for you, depending on that ad that you're running. And so just kind of understanding the different query types that you have or what an ad agency is running for you. I always say Measured is, we are usually the information we like to give is for someone that is maybe trying it out on their own, or they have hired an ad agency, but don't clearly understand what they're doing or what they're asking for. And so we're just here to help you determine those questions that you should be asking that ad agency, or you should just be asking yourself if you're doing it on your own, just to kind of understand the different types of ads that you may have running. And so when we're just talking about these different types of ads up front, which is going to kind of dive into what is changing for ads, and like when we're talking about changing for ads, we might be talking about your impressions, your click-through rate, which is just your CTR. And it is knowing, not even going all the way through the conversion component, because a lot of the things that are changing are coming through with like your click-through rate, which is based on how many times it was seen and clicked, which it gives you your click-through rate. So if you're just doing brand search, or a brand campaign, I should say, that is where you'd just be advertising against your name. So if you have any ads running, if someone or 154i. So if we have ads running for our brand, it'd be having anything if someone was searching for 154i that we would be found. There's commercial, which is like running against the services that you offer. So if anyone was looking for web design, not necessarily have a clue who we are, that we are showing up for web design. We're showing up for search engine optimization. We're showing up for Google Ads. All the different things, usually you kind of set your region around that you really want to pay for. Now you may open it all up to the US, kind of depending what it is. So let's just say you jump into product. You will have a shopping campaign or that you're wanting to run. Obviously, you're going to open that up because you're going to want to see more people to come find your product to purchase it. So if you have an informational one, questions, any of those things kind of pull into those different queries that can be ran for those different campaigns that you could set up. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those different campaigns up front, because those kind of dive into us going through the next steps of when we talk about how AI overviews is kind of adjusting the game on how things are working. And so when it comes to paid search and how it actually works right now, so much of it, especially if we're not dealing with a product, you can put different things on there, but different things, different wording. You can let them know if you have free shipping or not. If you have a sale going on, they'll see the product because of your image and the name, and they're usually looking for something very specific. Now, when it comes into if you're doing like a brand or more on the commercial side, when we're running search campaigns for people to find you, who you are, or what a service that you offer, and then they find who you are, it is all about that message. It is about having that clear message that when they get that impression, which impression means they see your ad based on a search of keywords or a keyword phrase that they are coming through to you, is that when they get there, that they feel comfortable that, yeah, that is exactly what I'm looking for, and they click to come through. So you have your impression, and then you'd have that click. And we are just trying to determine what is actually working for you. And that's kind of where this whole episode's kind of coming from. And when we were doing some research for a few of our customers, and these are not more on the product customers, the e-commerce customers, I'll say. These are more on the people that are selling a service or just kind of having more of that informational search queries that they're bidding against. And this is where the biggest changes were coming. And so we found Seer Interactive, and Seer is SEER. They had done a study that tracked paid click-through rate on AI queries dropping from 19.7% to 6.34% over 15 months. So what they're saying is that the AI, anything that was pulling an AI overview, so when you were asking a question, and normally you were paying on a query that came up for that their click-through rate, so the amount of times it was actually click-through versus the number of impressions that it saw, dropped 68%. There was a 68% decline with Google AI overview showing up and giving the answer. And I have an example here in a moment that just kind of shows it, but it's realizing that there are different things happening now with AI and AI overviews that are giving out that answer immediately, and they don't have to click to find it. And so it's understanding, have you seen a great decline in your click-through rate? And I'm not saying click-through rate's the only thing to track, because you got to be looking at anything that you're doing that's informational or brand that AI overview quickly answers. Now, when we deal with a lot of our SEO customers, when we go look at their AI pages that are being cited, most of them are blogs, and most of those keywords and phrases are showing up as informational. AI overview loves quoting informational content. So when you are bidding on informational like keywords or questions, and you have to realize a lot of Google can be automated when it comes to your ads. If you allow Google to set your keywords and give you all the recommendations and you follow everything that it gives you, don't. I mean, that's just my nicest way to say it, because you're going to overspend. And there's no need to overspend if you're not going to get the results back. So, kind of jumping back into that study really quick. AI overviews appeared only 7% of the paid dataset and 2.2% of total impressions in their earlier portion, but as of late is when those changes came. So you had to realize up front, the change was a lot less, 7% to 2.2%, and then over time, it went from 19.7% click-through rate all the way down to 6.34%. So there was a drastic change over the long period and from when they were initially doing it, but AI overviews now shows up a lot. And you will realize when you're out doing any of your own searches that it will be showing up more and more. So if you're just listening to the podcast, you're not going to see what's up on screen. I just have a screenshot of Google, and what we typed into Google was, how much does Google Ads cost? And Google itself has its own sponsored result that shows up below the AI overviews. I mean, this makes me laugh pretty hard that even Google is paying on something that is showing up below their AI overviews, because within that AI overview, it gives you a cost per click range, a monthly budget, industry factors. It says it all. Then there's a button that says show more, which you could click on and it'll give you more information about it. And then you have to go down below that and you'll see sponsored results. And it is Google that says start growing with Google Ads. And so they are even getting buried by their own AI overviews. But this is my clear example of everything that we were just talking about. You asked it a question. AI overview is giving you information. And then your ad showing up below. So it is focusing on what is actually working for you to realize, like, this is what you need to be doing. This is where you need to be concerned about. And a lot of it comes with those informational queries. So I'm going to jump back right into a couple things else from that study. That paid queries where AI overviews show up are mostly research heavy. In the data that came back, 37% were questions, 31% were medical related, and 18% were brand related. So brand goes back to like who your company is. The brand queries did hold up. Brand related paid queries still posted a 16.3% click-through rate, even with an AI overview present. So if someone was searching for that brand, it is saying that those did hold up on their own. But when they were searching like a question or something that was informational, which on theirs was all medical related, then their click-through rate had greatly dropped. So realizing that brand and high intent queries, the user is not researching, they are choosing. And by they, I mean Google. Google is choosing what it is going to do an AI overview for. And Google just likes to say that they're there no matter what to deliver the results the fastest, to get you to where you need to go the fastest that you want to be. They are thinking before you even, I shouldn't say before, you have to do your search, but then they are instantly thinking that they are right, giving you the answer that you need. So yes, they're trying to help. Yes, they want you to get to the fastest place possible. That's kind of where it comes back with SEO. When you're working with your keywords and your topic authority and just owning that place in Google, Google is just giving you results on what they find credible. So AI overviews is Google just controlling the entire game. Not that I don't feel like they control the game with SEO either, but then even they're controlling the game on what information is getting seen first before paid ads are even an option. And not everyone loves a paid ad or is concerned about even doing anything with Google Ads. I ask a lot of people and they say they skip right over anything that's sponsored. But nowadays, it's not as easy to tell, in my opinion, on what is a sponsored ad and what is, everything is labeled, but most people aren't reading. That's my biggest thing when I deal with anyone that we're talking to is like figuring out when you're working on your message and everything, and most people don't even realize what they are, what their ad even all said, because they really are just looking for a few words that they're top of mind on their head. And if those words happen to be there, they're clicking all the way through. And so I have a couple things from Google when it comes to these AI overviews. And we've talked about this a little bit in a different episode. So Google says ads can appear above, below, or within AI overviews. I personally have not seen an ad within AI overviews yet. I typically now always see the ads below. Now they're saying they can show above. So search, shopping, and Performance Max campaigns can be eligible. So search, shopping, and Performance Max are all different types of campaigns you can run within Google Ads. So they're saying if you are running one of those campaign types, that it has the opportunity, that it is eligible to show with AI overviews. Advertisers cannot target AI overview placements directly. And to top that off, you also cannot opt out of it. So nor can you choose it and nor can you not choose it. It is all Google controlling if your ads are going to be showing up with AI overviews. Ads inside AI overviews report as top ads with no separate breakdown. This is not a new campaign type or build. It's the same campaign, just running in a changed search engine results page environment. So I personally think that it'll eventually be an option. I don't know how it can't be. And if they want people to keep bidding, especially when your click-through rate and everything's going to keep dropping drastically, like that one study. And we've had a few of our own customers that when we are running those branded or informational searches for people to come in and find them, that things were dropping. And I'm sitting here feeling like, what are we doing wrong? What changed? And you start doing all this other research and realizing these other people are talking, and you go start doing your own searches, and AI overview is sitting there and they're giving you out that information that you want people to come onto your site to get. But here it is. It's just out in front for you. So it's kind of just understanding what you're bidding on. How is it going to affect you? And like I said, I still feel like if you're doing e-commerce and you're running like your shopping campaign and your performance max, and yes, you still may have your search with your brand, that those are still holding pretty strong because people are truly looking for that product. If they are wanting that product to purchase, they're still looking for that. I mean, I'm not saying that AI overviews won't change and give product as well, but right now, AI usually is about information. It is giving that information out as fast as it can. So it's just understanding what you're bidding against, what you need to change, and just realizing that I never push anyone just to spend money. Like, have that clear messaging. You may need to change up how you are wording things. We talk about messaging all the time, and it is so important. But now with AI just giving out those answers, it's understanding what is worth bidding on and not bidding on. And that's just kind of a few things that you can do to fix. I feel like when you do mass changes in Google Ads, it definitely affects your overall account. So I wouldn't go do anything drastic. I don't just go cut your budget that you've been spending. I mean, make those intentional changes. If you need to break out some of your informational keywords or campaigns that you were bidding on to track even more separately, so you really start to understand what is and isn't working, but don't just go cut to cut. It is being very intentional with it. I do think over time you're going to reduce your ad spend on informational queries because you're not going to get people there when they're getting the answer before they even have to scroll down to look for anything else. And more people trust AI. I'm not saying everyone does, but it seems like a lot of people turn to AI to ask a question nowadays that they're not even going to keep looking. And so it's just kind of understanding, tightening up your ad copy, and making sure your landing pages, if they do get there, that message is more important than ever. What that next step is, once they get from that ad onto that landing page, wherever you're sending them into, that there is a clear defined role from what that ad said to where they're landing and what you're wanting them to do. So pay attention now more than ever to your messaging. We talk about it all the time, but we really just truly mean it. If you have the right messaging and you have the right path that you want people to take, not only your click-through rate is going to come out of just people coming in and seeing your ad and then getting on your landing page, but that conversion is that most important step on what are you needing from them once they get there. So we're going to jump into our question of the day, and it kind of goes back and forth, which is why we chose this one for this episode. And the question is it worth bidding on your own brand name? I always say yes. If you are out there and you are constantly running Google Ads and you are wanting people to find you for the service or whatever you offer, even if it's a product, we still generally run search campaigns on your brand. So you're out there. The biggest thing I always say too is competitors. Not only would you run a brand name or brand campaign on yourself, run a brand campaign on your competitors. And I'm not saying that you always have to be on the defense, but it is just a standard thing. More than likely, if your competitors are running Google Ads, they're running against your name as well. So why are you not running against theirs? So pay attention to that. Take some looks. I always say yes. It's not always going to be a heavy budget line item for you, and you can control what you spend on that brand campaign. But if you are spending the time to be found in other ad areas that you're putting your ads out for, I always do say, yes, it is worth bidding on your own name. And the last thing that we're going to take a look at is our featured project of the day. And this one is Fillenworth Beach. They are out of Westlake, Okoboji, or they're on Westlake, Okoboji, I should say. And we had done this actual site design for them many years ago, and they were on a custom CRM, and we recently had moved them to WordPress. And again, it is just Fillenworth, and that's FILLENWARTH beach.com. And 108 years, it says, of perfecting Okoboji fun. They are a family-owned business that's been around for 108 years, still in the same exact family. And it's just kind of awesome, the generations that have taken over and keep pushing through their family traditions. It was a really fun project to work on. And we just love each year when they come back and make some updates and just keep improving their site overall, which is always just fun to work with individuals that value a website is really just plain and simple. So if you have any questions on anything that we just went through, please like, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening in on, and we'll catch you next time.